just a moment. I wanted to mention some things coming, not a lot, don't worry, but we have some things coming up for MediaPost that you might want to be aware of, because programmatic impinges on the publishing space so much. And we're doing a programmatic roadshow, we're calling it. And there's, so it goes on throughout the rest of the year. We have OMA Programmatic at Internet Week in New York. We have a TV Insider Summit at Amelia Island, Florida in June, also going to be focusing heavily on programmatic. We have OMA Los Angeles, which is going to center around programmatic as well. And then we're going to do programmatic shows during Advertising Week, as well as at OMA Chicago in November. So we cover that a lot in our pages, and we also are presenting a lot of content material on that. Also, you might be interested also in June at Amelia Island, Florida, we have the Email Insider Summit, which every publisher needs to be schooled in. I mean, what am I talking about? Like I need to school you people. But the point is, email and publishing overlap intimately. Certainly they do at MediaPost. And so you might think about the Email Insider Summit as well. Just one more program note. All the activities are meeting at 1:50 right at the bell stand, basically. Particularly those who are going fishing better be there, because you know, the boat could leave without them. And so now I should get out of the way so we can get our festivities all done and you guys can get moving toward your afternoon activities. So here's Tony, CEO of PostUp, the ad blocking playbook for publishers. Tony?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Let me see. There we go. So my numbers at $22 billion, wow, about, I think I heard 364 blank trillion numbers. So we're a few off of that, and I think this must be old data. But in any case, I'm Tony Deanna. I'm the CEO of PostUp. We are of two of the top sponsors here, both traditional email service providers. So I think you heard the summit, but there is definitely a correlation between the two. We focus specifically on publishers from an email standpoint, and I've been coming to, I think we've been since the first one. We did, I think, 3 shows now for the Publisher Summit. And you hear very often, you know, a lot around just, you know, digital publishing is just, I mean, I've been around it for about 10 years now, and it's a battle, right? It never stops. You're managing, trying to deal with ad blockers, and trying to deal with mobile websites versus mobile apps and websites. And there's just so many things that are changing. And monetizing gets harder and harder, right? So one of the things that we've really you know, looked at is, you know, email has always been kind of a secondary channel for publishers, and we just think as things begin to evolve, and I even heard in some of the conferences talking about, you know, will it ever change? Will it just go to subscription? Will it just go, you know, can you just sustain this advertising model? One area that you can really start to make changes on is building a direct relationship with your customers. And email is a great one. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But one way to get a direct relationship is for those ones, here's what to do, right? Say if you'd like to get access to our content, give us your email address, right? That's an interesting one to kind of just throw out there. I've heard a lot of different variations, and I'm sure there's a lot of pros and cons. I don't know if, obviously, you know, you'd love them to pay for the content, but if you can get their email, for one, when you're using the email, you're not doing it necessarily to send just pure ads. You're engaging them with content. And I think our other sponsor talked about automation, and that's one way, because you got to get real personalized content into their inboxes. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So from a standpoint is, you know, email, right? Why email? For one, it's less likely to be blocked. Email ads are typically not blocked. They're a perfect way to actually push native advertising, right? So in reality, and a lot of times you got to wait for traffic to come to your site. Email is one channel you can actually push. You can control the content in email as well, right? You have full control. If you're on Facebook, you have to really go within their forum. You have total control of that content. And people that open up emails and click emails are engaged audiences. They typically click at a higher percentage. So really powerful audience. And more than anything, another one is that you have first-party data to kind of change the paradigm, right? Now the problem is, though, is that email audiences typically are so small, right? Typically you have a 100 million people go into your website monthly, and I've got 100,000 active email addresses, right? And what I'm really going to focus on here is part of our solution is audience development, right? And how do you capture emails intelligently without negatively impacting your ROI, your KPIs, your monetization on site, and do it in a way that's intelligent. And that's what I'm going to kind of take you guys through. But another key point I want to make also is, reclaiming ownership, right? I was sitting down in one of the roundtables and we were talking about instant articles, right? And the reality is, and we were talking about Google, and if they're starting to, Google's actually starting to put in for sports stuff. You go to search for a sports team and a result, and it pops up right in Google before you even have to get to the site. Instant articles, obviously they're engaging on Facebook, but they may never get to your site. What a beautiful part about that stuff is if they get to your site, how do you capture that audience, right? You've got, there's companies here that weren't around 2 years ago that now have millions of people coming to their site, and it's important, I think, over time that they start building those direct relationships. So that's just the key thing. But email is a very powerful channel. I think it's been just an overlooked channel on the publishing side, and I think it's going to become really more important channel as things need to be diversified and you have to look for alternative streams of revenue, right? So I've got a couple case studies. One, before I go through that, we actually have a funnel, and we really break email into, it starts with list size. And that's really, that's the most important thing. Any successful email program has a really good capture strategy. The key is you have to, if you can get emails coming in from your site in an effective way, it drives everything. It drives performance, it drives behavior, open rates are higher. People that have stagnant lists, they die. They really do. So it's really important to do it, but it's important to do it really smart. But from then you got to get inbox placement, and we have technology that allows you to do that. Then you obviously drive open rates, and there's a funnel. On the right-hand side of the funnel is monetization, whether it's monetizing through Power Inbox or Live Intent or native advertising and email. Those are one ways to monetize, and those typically pay for if you do a good job of that, you can pay for the whole cost of an email service provider, and then generate additional dollars as well. The other option is driving traffic right back to your site, and what you typically find is you're going to get 2 to 3 times the amount of page views on somebody who clicks from an email than you're going to get from somebody who comes from Facebook. So it's really an engaged audience. Somebody who gives you their email wants your content, right? So this is our funnel. We kind of live by that, and we really focus on each area of that, whether it's from the top of it down to the bottom. So another call out here is if you look at the 2 lines, one is list size, and the second line is subscriber revenue or monthly reoccurring revenue from that list, generated across the different monetization angles. And if you are growing your list faster than you have been, if you do a program, and I'm going to take you through a couple quick case studies of what we did with Golf Channel and Rare.us, what you find out is that your revenue doesn't grow at the same rate that your list grows because the newer people that are signed up are engaging at a higher percentage. This actually doesn't even account for if you're doing a good job of taking that first-party data and actually having your direct sales team sell those individuals who are more engaged and you have more data on, right? So that can even scale higher where you can actually charge higher CPMs on your site. But it really is, once again, the goal is if you can just go from, for example, your Golf Channel has about 3 million uniques on their site. They've got about 600,000 active email addresses. So it's about 20%, right? It's a big percentage. Most big publishers I see, it's 1 or 2 or 3%. So if you can get to that 20%, you could start getting scale. And they drive about, of that 600,000, they drive 2.5 million clicks back to their site, and they have 5-6 page views per session, right? So it starts to add up pretty powerfully. So just quickly here, they've been a client of ours since 2012. What they did is they were actually waiting for their content management system to get revamped, and they had a really bad registration process. And they knew it, and we knew it, and they were asking for a whole bunch of data and information that wasn't getting done, and it was hidden, and it wasn't really easy to see. And I'll take you through what are some of the changes that they did. But their list was very stagnant. And if you keep having, when we got it, I think their open rates were 15 or 20%, and now they're upwards of 40%. And now a combination of really good content, automated like it was talked about this morning, in a way that's relevant and timely, but also new users are coming in and they're very engaged in the content. So just some of the things, so we made it really simple up front, just collecting email address. You can see there's 3 different signups that you have there, but it's a really easy template to see. And you don't ask for information after the fact. Don't do it up front, but you really need to have a one-click process. Make it easy. Get that email address, get them engaged with your content, and then they'll provide you more information, as well as you can collect a lot of information from what they click on as well. Preference centers are absolutely key. You need to have a very solid preference center, so you can actually, rather than opt out, you can opt down, if you like, from dailies to maybe weeklies, or you can remove yourself. But really, we built this in a very simple way, very easy to use, and very powerful. Leveraging Facebook registration. So you've got many times we see customers with 6 million or 10 million Facebook followers. So leverage that audience. Incorporate signups for email. Certain audiences will behave better, but it's another component to leverage. So there's no one silver bullet here. There's a lot of tactical things you can do. And the most important one, quite frankly, and I'm going to the rare case I'll go into a lot more depth, is a light box. And we've seen these, right? But it is important. They're not static. You don't give the same experience to everyone. I've heard a lot of things around A/B split testing, and it's vital. A Golf Channel is very conservative, right? So they will make sure you read at least 1 article or 2. They have a lot of page views. They know the page views they have from email or from people. So before they even offer it up, they'll do it in a way. And we actually, it's our technology that we're offering this with, and we have services that actually help clients do this. But you could take a small segment of that audience. You can test multiple different creatives. Content personalization is vital. Doing it on exit, but various strategies to help do it in a way that, and we can integrate with Google Analytics too, right? So that you can actually see the performance. You can make sure that you're not negatively impacting the page views. Your revenue and your CPMs are there. So there's things you can do to really, really test this. And just to give an example of some of the stats, their list grew in the last year by 32%. So their open rates grew as well to 40%, and their click-through rates are unbelievable at 60%. Great content, really good articles, but a very, very powerful program, and list growth is really the driver around that one. Okay, so the second one I'll put out there as well is a Rare, which is a Cox Communications property. And here's another example of a couple years ago, this site wasn't around, right? This is brand new. They've built it up. They've got a lot of traffic, 90% of it plus coming from Facebook. Yet they had collected, I believe it was 5,000 email addresses, because they had something up at the top of their site and it was pretty hidden. They weren't doing really anything with it. We spoke with them and we helped them build an entire strategy where now we have all of it automated, leveraging a web fetch technology and RSS. So a couple different ways to automate your email marketing program. We've increased the list size dramatically, and I'll take you through some of the tactics around that, leveraging our technology around email capture strategies. So obviously a preference center here boosts subscriptions by an extra 5% by having a preference center. It's important if you have good categories to be able to break those into each categories, and you could set up newsletters for each one. People can opt down and opt up as well. We even have a behavioral technology if you want to do like a daily digest, where it's like, hey, if you're clicking on certain things on your site, recommend things that are relevant to that individual. You can do those too through one of our partnerships also. So, another option. Interesting way to grow your list. This is a smart way, and it was very effective. But obviously, they have at Rare, they have a country music list. One way to do it is to go and do some Facebook lead ads, and do it on pages that are famous country music artists, and put in a newsletter there as sign up for the newsletter, and you pay for that. But what's interesting is once you click in on that, you can actually see it automatically populates the information, and if people are on mobile, they don't need to provide their email address. It just pops right in and it gets them signed up for the newsletter. So it's another way to do it, leveraging. So most of the stuff I talked about so far was taking your existing traffic. This is a way going and get traffic from Facebook and bringing it in. Just another interesting option as well. Contests are always really well. This was the Country Music Awards, giving I think a party for a cause, and another successful way where you can promote that on your site. Say, give us your email address, and you go into a sweepstakes. Just some other options. So here's an interesting one, and you could really, you could really get creative. But this is an example that we tested. We got 4x capture rate versus the generic widgets. So if we did a widget that was, the same for everyone to capture email, this one was 4 times more successful. And the concept was, from people coming in through that were on the country music side, so you knew they were interested in country music, you put a quiz up, right? And just an example of asking a question of who is the star married to, right? And of course, we got an 11% click on that. And as you could see, then you actually can say, hey, to get the answer, provide your email address, and then we'll sign you up for just this country music newsletter content. We're not sending ads. It's a content-only newsletter. But in any case, extremely successful. It was 20-time capture rate of the embedded sign-up form. So once again, tested it on a small group. We made sure there was no negative implication to any of the revenue generated. And in any case, it was very successful. Here's another interesting one. We have one-click subscription from other newsletters. What we realized is when people sign up for newsletters, you can actually have at the bottom, you can see there are different categories of newsletters. And you don't need to provide your email again. We have that already. All you got to do is click on it, and it automatically subscribes you to that second newsletter. What we realized is right now, we've only been doing this for about 8 months with Rare, but 52% of the people are now signed up for multiple newsletters, right? So we've got people on daily newsletters. We're using the existing newsletters to cross-promote other newsletters in ways that are very efficient. So once again, a lot of good tactics. We obviously work with our clients to test many of these tactics and provide them with best practices. And it's really an effective way to help grow your email marketing program. And obviously, once they engage with content, there's many things you can do to begin to more effectively monetize in a way that's a good experience. So just a quick example, some of the key stats is 5x the conversion rate of static forms. Like I said, we've grown their list 20 times, 20x since we started. So it's a little over 100,000 in 8 months from zero. And this is all from existing. 90% of this is coming from their existing traffic, right? So it's coming from traffic. You're coming to your site, and now these people are engaging at very high rates. Open rates are well over 30%, and they're clicking back to the site. And now they've got really great data on a really passionate group of users that in the past, 100% of these users were all coming just purely from Facebook or other means. So they're starting to build a direct relationship with their audience, and it's been very successful. So just a quick little thing about us before I get finished here. We are an ESP that's been 100% focused on media companies and publishers. We're a 75-person shop in Austin, Texas, but we have really a great group of team members, many of which have been with us since the early 2000s. So ton of tenure. We've always been focused on media companies and publishers. And we think right now is a really exciting time for publishers to really start focusing around that direct relationship and then start really thinking about how do we do things that are maybe not what we would consider core, right, which has been really advertising revenue. Are there other things to do? And if you have that direct relationship, you can really start to build on that and create additional revenue streams. And the last slide before I finish is, we break our business to support our clients into 3 key pillars. Our service is vitally most important. We don't expect media companies to be experts in email marketing. That's our goal, and we need to know our customers' business, and that's important that we do. So we provide all of the email services, and we can train you to do it yourselves, or we can actually deliver it in a way where we can include the services. We have a self-service platform, though, so most of what we do is education and training and more strategy. But once again, to the presentation in the morning, automation is key. You got to be doing automation. If you're trying to manually send emails out the door, you're never going to be able to scale a program. So that's just a non-starter without a doubt. Our platform has sent over 100 billion emails, so we're very scalable. Our largest client sends 500 million a month, so it's been tested. It has a lot of capabilities around personalization. And then the other key here is, and a lot of the partners in the room, that's one of the exciting things. I think, if this summit was going on 5 years ago, I don't think there would be any email people here. But we've got Live Antenna, we've got Power Inbox, we've got a ton of great email partners that really, I think, are seeing opportunity with publishers right now, because we think it's a great gateway engagement, direct marketing tool that I think publishers over the next 5 to 10 years will really be able to take advantage and help build businesses around those. So that's our story. I think did I finish in 20 minutes? I'm pretty good with time. I talk fast. I'm a New Yorker. Can't help myself. So enjoy, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Tony, thank you very much. You know what? If you have questions for Tony, grab him afterwards. And you have a colleague as well, right?
Yes, we got two. We got James Dillon and Paul Schmidt.
Okay, raise your hands. Got it right here. Okay. So the Post Up folks are here. And you guys are in for the duration as well for 3 days? Okay.
Absolutely.
Good. So grab these guys on the activities this afternoon or tonight at cocktails or dinner. That's right. And or tomorrow. And thank you again, Tony, for closing the day for us here. And